Evan Engram, the hyped-up tight end who was selected with the 23rd pick in the 2017 NFL Draft by the New York Giants, has not lived up to his high expectations early in his 3-year career. As a four-star recruit in 2012, he had high expectations for his collegiate career that started in 2013, where in his freshman year he had 21 receptions, 268 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And in his second year, in 2014, having 38 receptions, 662 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Like the same circumstance with DK Metcalf last year, low receptions, but a lot of yards and touchdowns, except for Evan Ingram, didn't have any touchdowns, but a great yards after catch. And in his junior year in 2015, having 38 catches again for 464 yards and 2 touchdowns. And was projected to be a late third-round pick after a disappointing junior season. Evan Ingram instead went back for his senior year, having 65 catches, 926 yards, and 8 touchdowns, obviously career high in all, and was selected 23rd overall. Before guys like TJ Watt, Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon, Juju Smith-Schuster, Alvin Kamara, and the list goes on. All were either selected late first round, second round, and later on, with a lot more big names that I did not listed, such as Eddie Jackson. But notable tight ends who were selected after him are David Njoku, Gerald Everett, Michael Roberts, Jake Butt, but the biggest one being George Kittle, who wasn't selected until the 5th round. In Evans' rookie year, he had a very, very solid year with 64 receptions, 622 yards, and 6 touchdowns with 115 targets, which led the team. But in 2018, having 46 catches, 577 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Very solid for a hybrid receiver tight end. With only 11 games played and about 50% reducted with only 64 targets from the previous year. And was also benched mid-games and missed 5 games with injuries. In 2019, he would produce 44 catches, 467 yards, and 3 touchdowns with 68 targets, but only 8 games played and only starting 5. Being benched by 3 tight ends. Only one you may have heard of if you're an NFL fan. Caden Smith, Rhett Ellison, and Scott Simonson. In my eyes, he has a lot to prove in this upcoming 2020 season, and it's very early in the offseason. Well, the playoffs are still in play, as he is a free agent at the end of next year. Next season, he could be looked to traded at the 2020 trade deadline, but it's the same circumstance as he was last trade deadline. He was looked to move around, but was on IR, so where he couldn't be moved. Also, in my eyes, Evan Engram is in a hybrid zone read offense that requires him heavily to be a good blocker, which in college, he wasn't used at all. Being transmitted from a heavy vertical pass team where yards after the catch is huge is why he succeeded at Ole Miss, has not translated to his success in New York. With his ability to catch after the run is very important, and his game has been taken away with his importance to block outside for Saquon and to run inside crossing routes for a struggling Eli Manning with the lack of ability to throw down the field, and this is a safety valve for Daniel Jones. And that's all you need out of Evan Engram to help Daniel Jones improve. It's to simply, if Daniel Jones gets into trouble, let him dump it down to Evan Engram, a young guy who does great in yards after the catch. So why not have him run across the field here and there, let him get the ball if Daniel Jones needs him to, and if he's open, and run all over the field. That's what he's doing best. You don't need to run out these special plays for him unless you really need to. Him and Sterling Shepard can be a very good duo out front and let Saquon Barkley run underneath. But it just hasn't worked out that way with him being injured, along with Sterling Shepard. But just a bad game plan by Pat Shurmur, and I think that's one of the main reasons why he's fired. Not only the designing for Evan Engram, but just his bad play calling and his bad personnel that he has on the field. Scott Simonson, who is their blocking tight end, along with Caden Smith, are on 3rd and longs trying to get receptions. Have Evan Engram out there. And I know he's not available half the time, being banged up, but this offseason, if he's able to recover fully and they get a good offensive mind there in New York, as a Cowboys fan, it's kind of scary because this offense could do some deadly things. But the offensive game plan has not put Evan Engram in the position to play. And in this case, he is a bust. He had high hopes. He slipped late in the first round. Giants took him, and he has been nothing but disappointing, or been a disappointment. So like I said, in that case, he is a bust. He has a huge year this upcoming 2020 year. Can he play all the games? Can he produce half decent in those games he plays? Because he is a free agent. And if he wants big money or even wants to stay in New York, he has to produce. And I think with Daniel Jones entering his second year is going to be huge. Those two can have a great combo. But like I've said, he has to be available. Without further ado, if you can like the video, if you enjoyed it, at least subscribe. I've got a lot of views the past couple of videos, not a lot of likes, not a lot of subscriptions. So if you guys want to see more content, leave a like.